The number of daily COVID infections in Hong Kong is rising, and the city's healthcare facilities are overwhelmed with patients. Authorities have confirmed hospitals are at 90% capacity and isolation facilities are full.
Hong Kong's COVID bubble has finally burst. Just look at this line for COVID tests. Testing capacity clearly overwhelmed. For most of the last 2 years, the city managed to keep the virus out through some of the world's harshest quarantines and travel restrictions. But now authorities are counting thousands of preliminary positive infections a day. And yet the Hong Kong government and the Chinese central government, they're both doubling down on what they call a dynamic zero strategy. They want to completely eliminate the virus from this community. Critics argue the genie is already out of the bottle. Most of the new infections are identified as the highly contagious Omicron variant. But more than 2 years into the pandemic, the Hong Kong government is once again locking down large sectors of society, like public playgrounds. Kids cannot use those swings, and they are also prohibited from in-person learning in all schools. Family gatherings of more than 2 families at a time, banned. Restaurants have to close after 6 p.m. Gyms, beauty salons, tattoo studios, all of those have been prohibited from working for weeks. The Hong Kong government says it's paying subsidies to help keep businesses afloat, but anecdotally, I'm talking to some small business owners who say it's not enough, and they're resorting to working underground illegally to help pay Hong Kong's famously high rents and keep food on the table. One of the most dramatic transformations, Hong Kong has largely cut itself off from the outside world. Only residents are allowed in, and they face long, expensive quarantines. The result? In 2019, this airport handled more than 71 million passengers. In 2021, that number plunged to just 1.4 million passengers. The land boundary to mainland China also remains mostly closed. Surveys show business confidence is down, and some people are voting with their feet. According to government statistics, in 2020 and the first half of 2021, more than 160,000 residents emigrated. And with no end to the restrictions in sight, that trend is unlikely to change. Hong Kong once marketed itself as Asia's world city. Today, it's one of the most isolated places in the world.